campaign at Adtech, and right now I have with me Deepak Gupta, the co-founder of the Bombay Shaving Company. It's a company that I'm sure everybody has heard about. They have products which are for men and for women. And right now they have made big news. Do you know why? Because they're prepping up for the IPO, but more importantly, they just ended up raising funds again, valued at, how much was it? 136 crore?
Yeah, the fundraise was 136 crore.
So perhaps we can start with that, Deepak. You can tell me how exactly are you going to use the recent fundraise over the course of the next few months? Is it going to a certain amount of it earmarked for marketing?
Oh, thanks, Vinita, first of all, for inviting. Uh, yeah, so basically, we believe that India is a great place to build business. Lot of consumerism, which we were talking. The younger consumers are consuming very differently. They are kind of experimenting a lot more. They want to transact with the brands where they can relate. They are browsing a lot more. So we believe that obviously there's an opportunity to continue to invest in innovative marketing content. So that will be one piece of that. Second is I think we have a big push on manufacturing because for us trimmers is a big part of the business. So we are already kind of manufacturing all our products, especially the trimmers in India, but further investing in R&D and the manufacturing capabilities there will be second big push. And third is we'll be also kind of getting into a couple of other categories. So just creating a war chest for those categories becomes another deployment of the fund.
So you mentioned about the creation of a few categories. Are these going to be in any specific gender? Because largely you started with focusing on the men and then you opened Bombay, which is for the women. So these new categories are going to be in men or women?
I think it will be for both. Like for example, Bombay, we have recently got into women's styling. We believe that there is no new age brand solving for styling for women. So we have kind of got very interesting product like Twister, where it's a portable styler curler which you can carry in your bag. We are launching a very premium hair styling product at like 10,000 plus price point. So it's actually already live on our website. So a lot of this innovation is happening on the women front. Similarly, we are kind of planning interesting stuff around the men's side.
So the Bombay Shaving Company, or the BSC as it's
Yeah.
often called in a very shortened form, it started by focusing or addressing the hitherto untapped opportunity in men's
Yep.
grooming. But the interesting thing about men's grooming is that for the longest time historically, the marketing in that space used to go into male shaming. Or there was this whole thing about, I would say, gender shaming or hyper masculine tropes.
Yeah.
So do you think that now the whole narrative has changed into self-care and being more
Yeah.
mindful about male grooming routines?
Yeah, for sure. I think a lot of this change has happened post-COVID, where consumers are becoming more self-aware. They don't only want to look good; they also want to feel good, and they also want to feel confident about themselves. Just looking at how our country is evolving. So, like for example, as a brand, we never have taken the masculinity route. We always have taken a stance around limitless self-expression. That's what we are. Both our brands stand for younger men and younger women. That we actually help you prepare to just face the world, right? So it's about you. It's not about anyone else. Just go out and express yourself in limitless possible ways that exist. And I think we'll continue to build our brands around this philosophy. Yeah.
So you mentioned about the fact that you're building it around the fact that you want younger people to feel confident
Yeah.
enough when they're stepping out into
Yeah.
the world. And that's largely the cohort that you're targeting. Now this particular cohort is very interested not in the larger narrative but about the ingredient,
Yeah.
the science first
Yeah.
marketing. How exactly are you educating them about the various ingredients that go into, let's say, the hair oils
Yeah.
or anything else that you have? Point number one. Second is, earlier you mentioned about the fact that you've come up with a very premium product. Now, think about premium. Do you think that this particular cohort is also willing to spend extra for premium products, or isn't premium something that you would associate with millennials or slightly mature
Yeah.
audiences?
No, actually, I think the consumer is younger consumer is already paying premium on the experiences, right? So as long as we are able to deliver that value through the product, we believe that there is a premium to be paid by that consumer. For example, we sell a product called full body trimmer, where the price point is upward of 3,000 rupees, and we see like huge conversions and penetration into the younger consumer for that product. Because they feel that like this one product can solve my multiple use cases. So there is a tremendous value we are delivering through that product. Similarly, the styling product I was saying is like the another benchmark is 5x more expensive at lesser number of features. So if we're able to deliver that value, we believe that we can sell a 10,000 rupee plus product as well.
So if you talk
Yeah.
again about the full body trimmer,
Yeah.
right, it still has this very interesting code of masculinity attached to it, right, in a way, which is a very androgynous fashion.
Yeah.
Okay, but at the same time, do you think that it is something that can resonate well, largely with the urban consumer base, and the rural masses might not be able to resonate very strongly to it?
Actually, you will be surprised. Lot of our consumers for hair removal for the body actually come from lower tier cities. Like you will have a lot of consumers from smaller towns in Punjab to smaller towns in Andhra Pradesh who will be actually adopting hair removal products, whether it is a trimmer or a hair removal spray or a hair removal cream. Obviously, depending on at the economic strata you are in and what you can afford, we also have something at 3,000 rupees, but we also have a product called Power Groomer at under 1,000 rupees. So then consumer get the benefit. Now, depending on the value they are looking at, the price point may change. But I think the adoption of product across different city tiers is mind-boggling. A lot of our growth has actually now started coming from lower tier cities because the aspiration across India is same. The excess and the means may be different. So how do we kind of tap into that aspiration and deliver value for that consumer is more important and make it available to them.
So how exactly are you addressing that particular problem of accessibility and also communicating to them that here is a product that can address all your grooming needs?
Yeah, so for example, while full body trimmer is, yeah, you're right, it's a 3,000 rupee price point. It's more far towards the premium consumer, but the similar features, someone looking at body grooming with certain attachments for beard, nose, etc., can get the Bombay Shaving Company experience at 1,000 rupees also. So we are basically straddling across different price point irrespective of, so we are not saying we are a super premium brand. We are saying that we have offering for the consumer depending on their needs from the channels they want to purchase at the point they want to buy. So that's the philosophy and that's how we straddle our assortment as well.
And has it been very successful because you said that a bulk of you're seeing an increasing number of consumers come from rural
Yeah.
masses, which means that you're hitting the home with them. Do you think it is because of the accessibility or is it because of the way you're communicating to them or the right kind of marketing messaging reaching them?
I think the way we are communicating to them, again, I think for us the core principle is that is consumer feeling that this brand is adding value to my life. Second is this brand offering me a value which I'm not getting anywhere else? Second is that brand trustworthy and reliable in case kind of I want to continue to transact or I face any challenge. We're able to kind of solve that. We believe that we basically cater to then any kind of consumer, especially the rural consumer. For example, there are channels like Macho which kind of goes to that TG. There we the brand is Bombay Shaving Company, but we have a different assortment that satisfies the need for that consumer. So again, there one is consumer, second is geography, and third is channel. How do we kind of adopt our strategy to kind of cater that consumer can be different?
Okay, so that's a very three-pronged
Yeah.
approach that you have. Now, there is also another very interesting thing, like if you open up any of your social media platforms,
Yeah.
you will immediately see a lot of male key opinion leaders or KOLs as they are called, talking about grooming, right? Now, the industry narrative has been crediting social media with removing the stigma
Yeah.
around male grooming, especially in rural India. So, but these deep markets we already spoke are very price sensitive and you also mentioned about it being very value conscious. They're also very traditional in their approach. So even when you're communicating to them, how do you go about identifying which are the KOLs that you need to work with so that the messaging reaches to them perfectly in the language they understand?
Yeah. So, I think frankly, I would like to clarify we are not a masculine brand at all. More male key opinion leader doesn't mean we are a masculine brand. I think we just want consumers to express the way they want. That's where the brand stand. And there are ways to do this. For example, when we are talking to a consumer in South, right, we will try to get local key opinion leaders whom those consumers relate to and speak that language. But we will never kind of disparage someone else at the cost of creating that content. It's always about that consumer or creating a funny moment where that consumer can relate to and be part of it. That's where the broad philosophy is, and we are very authentic. We are very honest in what we say, how we say it, when we say it, across different platforms. A lot of our colleagues, teammates are on social media, just expressing themselves, their views, and that's the culture we have, and I think consumer feel it.
So you have, like, for the longest time, Shantanu Deshpande
Yeah,
has been known to be the brand ambassador
yeah,
of the company itself, for good reasons and the
yeah,
bad reasons, right? And then you, like you mentioned, you have also been very vocal about how you stand on various things. And it's not necessarily about your own
yeah.
organization, but about larger things as well. You mentioned about the fact that even employees talk about their
Yeah.
journey, right? Do you think this is something that is encouraged or impressed upon your team to be very vocal about the whole thing, or is it something that comes in naturally?
I think both. Initially, it's encouraged because we believe that, see, our brand is a sum total of the people who work in the company. And if those people are able to bring their best to the world, we'll have like long-term equity being created across. So, and now I think the teammates, the employees love it, right, just to kind of express themselves. And that also kind of give a very transparent view to the consumer on whom we are as an organization. And when we communicate as a brand, it reflects. So I think it just kind of ties in together.
But how do you also put in certain guardrails? Like, there have been instances also, Bombay Shaving Company has also faced it, when founder-led statements can get it into hot water for various
Yeah.
reasons. When you have employees also doing it, you need to put certain kind of guardrails and sensitizations about the topics and the conversations they can have, they cannot have. So do you have regular, workshops or sessions where you tell them, okay, this is good to speak about, that you might want to steer clear of this?
I think this is a lot of role modeling. So people learn just seeing how everyone communicates. And even I think some of the stuff that went controversial, those were our views, right? And we believe that eventually some people will support, some will not support, but we will continue to be authentic and express ourselves.
Okay, so let's come back
Yeah,
to the whole influencer marketing. Now, influencer marketing has been one of the
yeah,
biggest tent poles for D2C brands,
yeah.
generally across sectors. So how pertinent is it in the entire marketing mix for BSC
I
mix?
think it's important. The only thing, the role of the influencers are changing. We believe that now large macro influencers who work with multiple brands, their overall effectiveness has started going down because consumer is getting smarter. They're consuming a lot of content pieces. Consumer are now also looking at real stories rather than someone yesterday was promoting brand X, now today brand Y. So I think consumers have started reading into that. So the choice of influencer become important. Maybe working with large set of influencers, micro, nano, and some macro, and macro also where you work with them consistently becomes an important part. But for us, it's an important part of storytelling because we ourselves will not be able to reach to different set of consumers. So if we're able to identify those right set of influencers, key opinion leaders, it will continue to be the great way to tell the stories because you can be again as authentic, demonstrative, and reach very specific set of consumers.
So, there are two very interesting acronyms in the industry. One is
Yeah.
CAC, Customer Acquisition Cost, and now there is CLM, which is Customer Life Cycle Value, CLMV actually. According to you, which is becoming more and more important, or are both of them equally important, and why?
See, frankly speaking, if you are in only one channel business, this is important. But in an omni-channel environment, both are very hard to measure. What is important for us is just to look at that there's consumer love, which get measured through NPS, ratings and reviews. Second is there is a repeat happening on the brand by a certain set of consumers, which is above the industry benchmark. And third is your feedback loops are fast. So a lot of people say that we are an open feedback company, but if you're not acting on the feedback as a brand, you are going to be kind of called out very fast, and consumer is getting impatient. So you're able to kind of work on all three. I think the other things will fall in place. It's very hard to measure, to be honest. Different investors try to put a number to this, but we have not seen any practical applications unless you are a single category, single channel company or a multi-category single channel company, because then you can track your consumer. For example, Blinkit or Instamart and Zepto, they're one platform. They obviously should track that if I have spent like 1,000 rupees to acquire a consumer, now how much long-term value or CLM I am able to make that out of the information.
So, you mentioned about the fact about omni-channel
Yeah,
existence, right? And we were talking so far about the end customer.
yeah,
Now you also have to communicate to your channel partners
yeah.
to ensure that, BSE's products get best retail shelf space. How exactly do you cater, or rather pivot your marketing messaging so that, if it's in the tier one, whether it's a chemist, whether it's just a general store or a departmental store, how exactly do you change your marketing across regions, across various channels in the B2B space so that at the end of the day they will promote BSC very actively?
See, we believe that the best salesman is in our case, we have limited capital, so we obviously can't spend a lot of.
136 crore you guys just raised, come on.
No, I'm talking of the physical retail channels,
Okay.
right? When I'm in a multi-brand environment, the best marketing happens by the packaging itself. So we are an outlaw brand. We make our packaging very outlaw, in your face, etc. I think that works for us. Second is we disrupt the category. For example, trimmer as a category was never been built into offline stores along with grooming. It has always been built with appliance, with mixer juicer grinders or iron boxes of the world, right? Because the brands that were selling trimmers were from those categories. But when we kind of got into trimmers, if you walk into a modern trade environment, you will see trimmers along with the razors, right? So again, just making the consumer purchase journey very seamless, irrespective of what category is shopping. But if the behavior is to use a grooming product, it should be together. So again, second is we starting our own EBOs. We already have like more than 20 EBOs across different cities, airports, etc., which become a great consumer experience touch points for us, where consumer can touch and feel the product, can experience it, and then kind of transact. So I think these two kind of works really well.
So earlier you just mentioned about the fact it's also about taking the feedback
Yeah,
and acting on it.
yeah,
Now with 20 odd EBOs that are there, where you have real-time customer feedback
yeah.
coming in person, have there been instances where maybe not just the EBOs, maybe even online also, where you have gotten feedback from consumers and that might have triggered a eureka moment and led to the launch of a product range or a product category?
Yeah, many a times. I think the women's styling range, for example, came out of that. So, like, I think that's what you started with, that you have been a male brand, men focus, etc., and then kind of. But for us, like our women brand is driving a lot of growth for us right now, and the styling completely came out of that because we realized that a woman consumer buying our trimmer or a razor, they also like say that I don't have a brand I can relate to in styling because brands like Dyson are out of my pocket, and the other brands I am not able to associate. Right? Dyson maybe I will buy once in a lifetime, or even someone will gift to me. But and we realize like there's a serious gap for that younger consumer who is looking to buy the brand they can associate with, who can handhold the consumer, who can be part of their not only purchase journey but also usage journey and post usage journey. That's how styling got born. So yeah, we are very keenly listen to the consumers.
And which are the other products, innovations that you'll probably be coming on, which is there, you already mentioned about it, which is again based on customer feedback that you might have, because there might be a lot of cross-selling opportunities. You mentioned about Bombay, right? In Bombay, it came out of the whole styling thing. Maybe after styling, you might just decide to come up with something else like, I don't know, something
Yeah, no, two
setting
products I
sail.
will talk about. One is, for example, we have a trimmer called Legend 365. So one of the pain point consumer told us that whenever I am trimming, if the charge goes off, actually I am to first charge the trimmer, which takes like an hour, and then kind of get back to like no one has that patience and time. So we have this Legend 365. Once you charge for once, it lasts for 365 days. Right. So again, the innovation being done on the product, which is never heard in the industry. The new launch which we are going to do is called Air. One of the, and I don't know whether if you speak to few men, you will realize that trimming is also a very clumsy process because a lot of hair comes on the floor of the bathroom or sink or wherever you are, and then people use newspaper or some cloth, etc., to get rid of it. It's clumsy, right? So air actually sucks all the hair while trimming. There's a vacuum technology being built it into. Again, this consumer was asking us that, do you have some apron or something where I can? So we said, okay, like that's kind of very outdated. Let's kind of think of a product. Took us some time to launch this product. We are, I think, launching this month itself. So yeah, so we
That's a great
went
one.
out.
We don't
Yeah,
have an apron, we have a vacuum.
yeah,
It's nice. You should use that as your
yeah,
tagline. So, you mentioned about the fact about how you're solving
yeah.
the problems to reflect the various identity and lifestyle. But this market, the
Hmm.
D2C and especially the BPC
Yeah.
market, if you were to talk about it, and I'm including grooming there, literally one in five launches are targeted at men. I know I'm going back to the whole men thing. The reason I'm asking is because majority of the men, majority of the brands, I'm sorry, are vying for the same category, for the same cohort, the same kind of identity also to a certain extent. So how do you ensure that BSC does not fall into either the utility or the novelty trap?
I think thankfully we have two brands, one for men, one for women. So we are kind of very fair in terms of product launches. Actually, because women is much younger brand, so Bombay is actually doing now more launches than Bombay Shaving Company. So maybe this question is not for us. But again, I think it's just being closer to the consumer. Consumer need states are evolving. The consumer who was Gen Z is now actually already turning 25. Now, what we are thinking is how a 12 to 15-year-old consumer is behaving. We feel that there's a lot of nuances which are very different from how someone who is now turning 25 and called the consumer of the current times has changed. That consumer has a lot of clarity on what they want to buy, why they want to buy, compared to Gen Z who were just figuring out. So, and then compared to millennials like me who are kind of evolved differently. So just being closer to the consumer and keep looking at the trends will avoid brands to fall into that trap.
So that's a very interesting thing that you mentioned because I was just looking up some stats, and between 2009 to 2019, and that's quite several years ago, the number of skincare brands, especially in the male category, they jumped fivefold.
Yeah,
And you have legacy players like HUL and Nivea that have also recalibrated their entire
yeah.
strategy, and even Gillette for that matter, to compete with startups like BSC. So you are an engineer, okay, and you also manage supply chains at Colgate. How do you think you will be able to reconcile this market breeding growth? Because there's going to be margin pressure. There's going to be the pressure from the legacy brands with deep pockets. And then they have the capability to outbeat and outpresence you given their distribution channels. So how do you outrank them?
I think we used to look at competition as a challenge. Now we have stopped doing it. We believe that we are playing our own game with our own set of consumers, and that we have advantage with the younger consumers as a brand. So, and there's a lot to be done. The market pool, the consumer pools are infinite. Markets are also infinite. If you start developing that outlook, I think then the strategy and how you allocate capital also becomes different. Is our view. If I just try to compete and kind of have certain brands where I feel that I need to kind of outpace them or they will outpace me, then your worldview becomes finite. So we also used to do it, but now we see that there's infinite possibilities, market level, consumer level, categories level, and we have reached a stage where we can start tapping into them differently. So we are playing our own game.
So last question. The company started as the Bombay Shaving Company. You have now gotten into various other product lines.
Yeah.
Is it time to come up with a new name?
Not really. So our parent company is called Visage
Visage.
Lines Personal Care Limited. I think so. Visage continues to be the face at the organization level, and then we build platforms. Bombay Shaving Company is one. Bombay is another. We just acquired a brand that become third, and 100 Days, which is our service business, is the fourth, and there may be a fifth that may come very soon. So that's a platform play we are building under Visage.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for taking the time to
Thank you.
speak to us. It was a lovely
Oh,
pleasure.
same lovely interaction. Thank you.
Thank you so much.